Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And you, Mr. Sponsor, you had referred to this bill not having a fiscal note and it not being cost to the state of Tennessee. Is there any process laid out in this legislation how that selection of attorney and finding of that pro bono counsel will be handled? What are the criteria for those counsel, aside from being pro bono, if any?
Representative Boso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, there is not. The retention of counsel is going to be left under the bill entirely to the discretion of the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate acting jointly.
Representative Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. I realize that you've only been here a little while, but sometimes the House representatives and the Senate don't always see eye to eye. Our Speaker likes to take on the other Speaker, so I'm wondering if there's any provision in this law that's going to resolve a disagreement between those two individuals, there being an even number, and how that tiebreaker is going to work out.
Representative Boso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The way the legislation is crafted, it will require the consent of both houses of the General Assembly, the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate, in order to use this statute to bring an action on behalf of the state.
Representative Clemens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you. I was just curious if Speaker Sexton was going to have to seek counsel from Representative Campbell on how to properly give a DDT or something like that across the aisle. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. To the sponsor, can you give us an explanation one more time on the bill?
Representative Boso.
Yes, Representative Hardaway, I'd be happy to. What the bill does is it adds a new provision, a new subsection of 8-6-106 that authorizes the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate working jointly to retain counsel in addition to the Attorney General to represent the state of Tennessee in federal court. It also provides that the representation would be provided at no additional cost to the state. In other words, there'd be no fixed or contingent fee paid to counsel. The services would be provided as a public service.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. So the council would have to agree with the position of the Attorney General, or would that counsel also be appointed? Is it possible to appoint counsel that has a different position than the Attorney General?
Representative Boso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The legislation does not require any coordination between the General Assembly and the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General may have a position that is the same as that the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the House do. The Attorney General might have a different position, or the Attorney General may have no position at all. This is simply a means by which the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate, acting jointly, can use the General Assembly to represent the state in federal court.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. And why do we need this? What is it that's not working?
Representative Boso.
One fact that you may be aware of, Representative Hardaway, is that several years ago, this body in the Senate passed a joint resolution that authorized the filing in federal court of an action regarding refugee resettlement. That case was dismissed at the federal district court level on the basis of lack of standing. That is, the court pointed out that under 8-6-101, only the Attorney General had the statutory authority to prosecute or defend cases in federal court on behalf of the state. That case was appealed to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, which affirmed. The Sixth Circuit agreed that the joint resolution that both bodies passed was not sufficient to confer standing upon the General Assembly to prosecute that action. So what this statute does, Representative Hardaway, is it provides that statutory authority for the General Assembly to represent the state in federal court should the need arise in the future.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. And the position that the pro bono counsel would take would be a joint vote of the chambers or merely the decision of the speakers, a consensus among the speakers?
Representative Bolso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Every lawyer has to have a client. And in this case, the lawyer's client is the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate acting pursuant to this statute on behalf of the state. So whether you look at it as the attorneys representing the state or the attorneys representing the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate as its representatives, the attorney would be taking direction from both the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate with regard to any legal positions to be taken in the case.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. And I just want to be clear, so the pro bono counsel would be representing the state of Tennessee, not merely the state legislature.
Representative Bolso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, that is correct.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. I thought I was good at first, but now I've got some questions of whether we're impeding on the executive branch's territory. But thank you for your explanation, sir. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Any further questions before we get the representative from Shelby County? Representative Vaughn, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Gino Bolso, do you ever wonder how an Irishman like yourself got into this situation?